Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing how to install a Seadoo Spark upper deck platform. Removal is really just the reverse of install. I use a gantry crane, chain hoist, and ratchet straps to remove the deck and install it because I have one. Main reason is because I'm typically doing it by myself. If you have a second or third person to help you, you can typically lift the deck off and on without a lift, but the helpers have to be willing to pull their weight. The upper deck is expensive, so you don't want to drop it or damage it in any way. Stick around to the end, or skip through if needed, to the part of the assembly process you need to know to finish reassembling or disassembling your ski. When you are lowering the deck onto the hull, you need to line up the fuel cap in the opening, pull the steering cable up through the hole in the upper deck, and make sure the vent tubes at the front drop into the right area. If you would like to learn more about jet skis and how to do more on them yourself, please take a moment and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments section and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Once the deck is lowered or placed onto the hull, make sure the steel is not poking out of the gap between the two sections and be sure all of the bolt holes are lined up. Next step is connecting the upper deck steering harness to the lower hull main wiring harness. If you have IBR, intelligent brake in reverse, you will have two plugs. Make sure to push the red wiring locks in once they're connected. This is the steering cable here and the lock ring for the adjustment of the cable. The first hardware I like to put in is the 3 screws for the fuel filler neck. Don't over tighten them because they do thread directly into a plastic flange. Alright everybody, it's time to get this spark back together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with putting stainless washers in. This is the upgrade to the black plastic ones. So the stainless washers, and we're going to end up having pretty much the regular special bolts have to go in. So I'm going to start with the side ones first, since we know this was a crushed hole. And we're going to be on this side first. So these are the stainless washers. This comes in a kit. It makes it where those black plastic washers are the worst style, and they never hold up. So this is an upgrade. And I would say it's obviously better because you'll never have to replace them again. Put them in every spot. The upper, they have them for the whole deck, and just the mid deck, or whichever way you wanted to do it. But if you put all your washers in first, that makes it easier when you go around the ski to put your bolts in. So don't forget, so you got the, I was showing a minute ago, there's 3 screws for the fuel neck right here. You also have the steering, there's 2 for the steering right here that actually hold the steering cable assembly into the upper deck. And then you have the bolt up here, up in this area up here, that actually is for the actual steering right there. So don't forget those. That's the main stuff. And then the wiring, obviously at this point, is right down here. The main plugs are right down here. That's where you your IBR plug, if you have one, and then the main big plug. In this section, I'm just putting the special stainless washers and special Torx head bolts in on the opposite side, and the screws and washers in the front area. Alright, the next step for this side over here is, so you have a special threaded bolt. You got the aluminum oval washer right there, and then you have pretty much, my neighbor, I'm just kidding, my neighbor coming over. So you kind of got to get it just like this, and get the washer under there. The easiest thing to do is to have a Torx driver on the top of the screw and hold the washer and 10mm nut and spin the screw to get the nut started on all the side hardware. Then go back and tighten them, all with a drill driver and nut driver on the bottom nut. Okay, so what I normally do is I use a nut driver to hold it from the bottom side. It's one of the easier ways to hold it. But just like that, see, I hold it down. That should run it down enough, yeah. Better torque to it. As you can see, there's a lot of hardware, and you just have to keep going till you get it all in and tight. you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. You got 5 on the other side. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here at the back. And then you actually have the panels go here. And you have a screw that holds that in, and a panel here, a screw that goes in there. And then at the front, you have one here, same thing on the opposite side. So that's 4 additional ones up here that actually hold it to the front section. So we're about to get those in.
In this section, I'm just installing the self-tapping special Torx screws into the plastic nut plates at the rear of the ski.
Nothing like visitors in your video. That's okay. Alright guys, we're just about there. So we got the last 5. Just gonna be on this side, we're gonna put them together and finishing putting these last ones in.
In this section, I'm just installing the side hardware for the opposite side and using the drill driver and nut driver to tighten it.
Alright, after you finish putting all that hardware in, it's not a bad idea to go back over and just pretty much hand tighten them just to make sure you got it all. But the next step I'm going to show you is pretty much you got 2 screws right here. They're self-tapping ones that go into the steering cable base. It's actually the steering cable base that actually locks it down to right here. And then we'll have the other steering cable bolt itself that actually bolts it to here. So that's the final part, and then we can finally put all the covers back on. So I'll get to that next. All right, guys. Next part here is to connect the steering cable to the body or to the midsection. So what we got is we got 2 of these self-tapping screws that need to go in there. That is going to be pretty much right here. It's almost easier to do it on this side, but I apologize if I'm getting in the way of this light, but it's almost easier to reach over from this side. You got 2 of them, one on top, one on the bottom. It's right here. I'm trying to keep from getting my hands directly in the way, but this is reaching through the knee panel on the ski. So there is actually a seal on the steering cable that seals it to the body. Just kind of keeps water from running down the actual cable. I want to make sure that doesn't get cockeyed in there some way. These 2 bolts need to be tightened down first, just to get it nice and solid. If you need to adjust your steering cable, there's technically 2 adjustments. There is one here that you can lift that and spin this nut. That's one adjustment, and then you just lock that back down. That's one adjustment there. And there's typically, actually, I think that maybe, and some of them they actually have an adjustment at the back, but I think they actually did do away with that. So you do want to put Loctite on the bolt that goes on the steering cable. So I'm going to grab some of that. Let's see, grab 2 there. There you go. I'll get the Loctite on the bolt. At the end of it is technically it's a lock nut that goes on it. So this one actually has a bolt that goes through. It's going to be really kind of hard to see this because it's up in here, but it goes through the steering assembly. There's an open point, a little socket, a little ball socket kind of thing right there. And I recommend just going ahead and putting making sure there's a washer in the bottom of it too, which is right here. That's maybe easier to get it from that side. So I'm going to spin it around. Just like that.
In this part, you just install the steering arm bolt with blue Loctite, washer, and lock nut, and tighten the hardware whichever way is easiest to get your arms in there. I typically use a long 10mm ratcheting wrench and a second long 10mm standard wrench to tighten this hardware.
Alright guys, we're back here. If you notice that from this video going through that I've changed probably more times than somebody, a star on at the Oscars or something, just to understand that I'm trying to do this in sections so that it doesn't drag out. This is actually the 2 pieces that go at the back. Just kidding. Those pieces go in there like that. It's kind of just reinforcing, you know, the 2 sections. The other one's the same thing. They line up on these tabs. You got tabs here, tabs there. They line up on these tabs just like that, and you pretty much just knock them over right there to get that, and then you can actually put your screws in at that point and run them down just like that. Oops, let it slip. That did slip, sorry about it. That back in there where it was. Okay, get the screw in there the right way. Now we gotta watch it. Just make sure it's down in the hole. Just like that. Okay, so that's those. So they're in there. At that point, the next step we got is going to the covers. I'm just gonna flip the camera and just go to that next, okay? All right, we made back. Here we are. So we're gonna put these covers, these last covers on. These are actually the knee panel, knee kit covers here. We've got the steering cable hooked up. That's up in here, like I was saying. These covers, they have little tabs right here at the top. They have a little nipple that actually pops into the rubber right here on the side. So you got to slide these in just like that, and then you just kind of pop it right into that little rubber section right there. There you go. So that's that one. This one here. Now this one pretty much has a lock right here. That's actually what locks it in place. It would be up like that. That's in order to put it in, and that locks it down. So you slide this in just like that. Actually, sorry, that was backwards. Down is open, and then up is actually locked. So that's up. That's up. Actually locked right there. So you slide it in just like that. And the tabs have to go all the way in and catch. Don't be afraid to kind of push it hard in there, but just like that. So that's in, and then turn it and lock it. That's your access panel for your battery. That's your access panel for your wiring. Pretty much your diagnostic plug is also in there. So diagnostic plug is here. Your wiring to unplug the top to the bottom, that's over here, and then your battery sits about right there. So the next step is putting the other cover over there on. I'm just going to do that, and that's pretty much the last thing. And sorry, a seat. I'll put the seat on too, so that's the last part. Like I said, 2 tabs here, and then the nipple right there that pops into the rubber grommet. This goes up here, just like that. Line it up with the grommet. It's kind of tight. This thing hasn't been in here in a long time either. There it goes. Push it down in there, and then now we got the seat. So the seat goes in. We got the gasket tightened down. The fire extinguisher goes right here. And this is actually going to be, you line it up right here. This goes right up in there. And you also have to line up these back here, and then it locks down right on this tab right there. So this goes slide in. You got to get it flat so it catches on back here, catches back here, catches up here. Lock it in, and that's locked down. So that's it. We're all set. Got everything ready to go. Glove box, your key, that key goes there, your controls. So that's got everything, guys. So that's reassembly of the Seadoo Spark, putting the top back on after service.
If you enjoyed this video or just found it helpful, please smash the like button. Subscribe to my channel to see more cool videos like this one, and don't forget to check out my description for links to the tools and materials used in this video.